Joy News, we are independent, fearless, and credible. You're watching Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Coloni. Our headlines this are: the cost of registering a new voter reduces from $13 per head to $7. The Electoral Commission has meanwhile denied allegations that returning officers and deputy returning officers for the exercise were provided by MMDs. And how much are you willing to contribute to the cost of the new force? Well, Nana Kwame Bediako-Cheda is seeking your support to raise 100 million Ghana cedis to fund his 2024 election campaign.
Save Ghana Fund is just telling the nation that help us change the narrative for the first time in history.
And one person injured, 8 cars crashed by falling trees following a windy rainstorm in parts of Accra Monday morning. The Ghana National Fire Service is warning against seeking refuge close to weak structures and trees as the Met Agency projects more of such storms coming in the coming days.
What the form and what to dinosaur and a dinosaur side dinosaur. But luckily, say a diano a ton of 9 in 90 years. But Antonio body no. But in body no, a defies a police commander and a car and a save room because a torso.
At 8 p.m., Emma Davis will come your way with Prime Business.
Economist Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie optimistic the next disbursement of $360 million by the IMF will send positive signals to investors.
It will also send a signal to foreign investors that Ghana is on course to restructure its debt and recover its economy, and therefore it is prudent for them to come here and do business with us.
Now, Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants and German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty. Election Headquarters for an informed electorate. Now, the Electoral Commission is defending its procurement processes after receiving backlash from Imani Africa. The Commission insists its procurement processes were done through competitive bidding through the Public Procurement Authority and the Finance Ministry. Addressing the press earlier, the Electoral Commission Chair, Jean Mensah, added that their budget for the procurement to EVDs were scrutinized by Parliament, maintaining that their procurement processes were not done in secrecy. The EC also claims not to have been aware by Imani Africa's petition to strike against the Commission.
We know that procurement usually would go under the Public Procurement Authority. It doesn't go, we do not seek parliamentary approval to procure. It is true that we defend our budgets with a special budget committee of Parliament. And before our budgets are approved, we have these extensive discussions with the honorable members of the Special Budgets Committee before approval. But when it comes to procurement, we get approvals mainly from the Public Procurement Authority and the Central Tender Review Committee of the Ministry of Finance. So I can assure you that the Commission has abided strictly by the law in all procurements that it has done from 2018 to date. You go through the appropriate agencies, be it the PPA, or you can go through the Central Tender Review Committee, as the case may be. And that has been done, and there's documentation to that effect.
Now, the cost of registering a new voter has reduced from $13 per head to $7. Briefing the media on arrangement ahead of the limited voter registration exercise beginning Tuesday, Jane Mensah said they expect to register 623,000 new voters from May 7 to May 27.
With the figure 623,000, per the census report, of 2020, 450,000 people 10, 18 years every year. And so are you aware that in 2020 we held voter registration? So if you start counting from 2021 to 2024, you arrive at a figure of 1.8 million persons turning 18 years every year. And in the last registration exercise, we managed to register some 910,000 of the 1.8, and it leaves us with a figure of 890,000 persons who are yet to register. We all know that we cannot expect all 890,000 persons, at our registration centers. We cannot have all of them come. And so what we've done is to use 70% of that 890,000, and that gives us the figure of 623,000 that we've put there.
Now, Jane Manson said the commission, in collaboration with the political parties, have selected 785 electoral areas where the registration will take place. To ensure students on campus are not disenfranchised, the commission has assigned mobile teams to 25 public universities to register prospective voters.
As mentioned, when you go on our website, you can actually see the timetable of the movement plan. So you know that on this day they will be at this electoral area. They will be here for 2 days in a particular district. They will move from this electoral area, so you can actually follow them, and that is available on our website. The public universities, I don't have that data with me. Do you have? Can we get copies and to share? But again, if you visit our website, you will find the breakdown of the public universities per region. We are hoping that before the end of this exercise, we should be able to get that data. But it is also on our website. It has also been gazetted, and a visit, to our website will help you to identify the breakdown of the public universities per region.
Now, Madam Jane Manson also denied allegations that returning officers and deputy returning officers for the exercise were submitted to them by various MMDCEs across the country. According to her, the commission is open application portals for interested persons to apply, after which they conducted extensive interviews and successful applicants were selected.
The first one was on the accusation of using staff who had been given to us by district chief executives. And again, we refute that allegation. And the point that is being made is that these staff who have been selected are not new. They are not new to our processes. They've worked with us for many, many years. And therefore, they are not new selected staff coming from anywhere. If they were, they would not be persons that we've worked with. And I think I find your question a little, because if they were new, then you could say that, oh, these are new people who don't know our system. These are people who advertised, who are known to our system, have worked with us for many years, and have experience with us.
Now, still on the Electoral Commission, the Dansoma Circuit Court has granted a conditional bail of 20,000 Ghana cedis with 2 sureties to all 4 persons accused of stealing laptops belonging to the Electoral Commission. The 4, Philip Tete, a 26-year-old laborer, Benjamin Fienyi, a security man, and Clifford Ibua were in a dock on Monday with Joseph Blankson Edumadze, a 37-year-old database administrator at the Electoral Commission, who is already on bail. Having failed to furnish the defense with charge sheet, a caution statement and facts, the judge granted bail with very little resistance from the prosecutor. There's more in the following report.
The 3 other suspects who were in police custody prior to Monday's trial showed up in court handcuffed together. They were joined in the dock by Joseph Blankson Adumaji, 37-year-old database administrator at the Electoral Commission, who was already on bail. The prosecutor, who failed to furnish the accused persons and their lawyers with disclosures as directed at the last trial date, attempted to apply for another adjournment to enable them finalize their investigations. Meanwhile, a lawyer for the accused, in addressing the court, said the prosecution is trying to blow a simple case out of proportion. He argued for fairness and justice to prevail and the trial be conducted within a reasonable time frame.
It's a presumption that the accused persons are presumed to be innocent. So once a date has been given for them to serve us with disclosures, and they have failed to do so, and considering the fact that the other accused persons on bail, it is right and proper that the others be also admitted to bail.
Okay, so 2 sureties, 20,000 Ghana cedis, report at the station once every 2 weeks.
Yes.
Are you confident your clients are able to meet this bail bond?
They will try. They should be in a position to. Yes.
Where do you see this case going?
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. We'll do our best. Once they're on bail, we'll sit with them. Then we'll discuss the possible or the good defense for them.
Now, leader of the new force is seeking to raise 100 million Ghana cedis from ordinary Ghanaians to support his political ambition to become president. Nana Kwame Bediako has set up a crowdfunding scheme dubbed Save Ghana Fund to accrue the money for his campaign. He believes the move will eliminate corruption and nepotism in Ghana's politics. He is convinced the platform will offer Ghanaians the opportunity to collectively invest in their leadership and thus be able to hold them accountable.
Our country is in shambles. Our economy is facing crisis. Our people are jobless. Our children are becoming hopeless because they don't know their future. And our leaders have given up because they failed us as a country. But all we have today is us as a nation. And I want to tell you that 74.9% of this population is between 0 to 45 years. It falls under the youthful age, which means we are responsible for the future of our country. And the only way for us to make it ours is to begin to be responsible for our own people and our own country. Now, the Western world, maybe we pick America or we pick Europe. Every one of these presidents will go to the public. It doesn't matter. Donald Trump is a billionaire, and he went into politics, and he went to the public to raise funds. So he asked them to donate to him. Now, I would like to tell you why it's more feasible for us to start practicing our democracy this way. Because I'll come to Africa. All the leaders in the Western took the donation from the people to put themselves in the seat. So guess what? The people made them the president. They did not make themselves the president. And therefore, they have no choice but to serve the people. That is democracy. Democracy belongs to all of us. It does not belong to a few of us. Now, when you come to Africa, it's completely the opposite. All the leaders are going to the people and giving them money and say, vote for me. Why do we call this the same democracy? Why are we practicing it the opposite way? So now let's try and figure out, when that person that came to you to give you that money to vote for them, when they become a president, do you think they're here to serve you or you owe them? On this note, it gives me the opportunity to tell Ghanaians, the nation of this country, that the Save Ghana Fund is just telling the nation that help us change the narrative for the first time in history. Help us change this narrative. Your power is your thumb, and who you choose to vote for should not be able to connive or instruct you to vote for them based on payment. I want you to be the investor of your leader, of your national governance. I want the nation to see that they are responsible for creating leaders, for putting leaders in place. And I'm urging the youth in school, the laborers of this country, opinion leaders, the kings, the queen, mothers, assemblymen, the young man, the young woman, the old man, the old woman, the father, the mother, that one big thing that you can do for us as a country today is for us to change this narrative.
Now, in a matter of hours, the Electoral Commission will begin its limited voter registration exercise across the country. The Commission is projecting to roll in at least 850,000 prospective first-time voters onto its register. Ahead of this crucial exercise, some of the young ones, citizens of Ghana, actually in Jamestown, have been expressing excitement about participating in shaping the future of their country. They've been speaking on Joy Prime's Just Turned 18 show, which delves into the heart and minds of first-time voters.
Esther, what are some of the stories you've heard about the registration process?
Sometimes they'll be saying, oh, Neke, no, I register. No,
so Esther is saying that people say that, oh, when they go, the line is so long. So unless you find like an older person before you can finally get to vote. That she says it's her experience or things that she has heard about, the registration process. Now you, Michael, what have you been hearing?
Okay, what I usually have been hearing that people are normally not 18, but people usually force to bring them to the registration center to be registered so that they can get the opportunity to vote because they need more votes in their parties. So it normally creates confusion at the registration center.
But does that work? Because we have authorities at the registration centers. Are these people caught?
It goes by the links, so you can't tell. Because no matter what you say, they are older than you, so they will go by all means to make it happen.
All right, now Nico, I'll come back to you, Esther.
Like he said, it's very true. So sometimes you see that some people are not 18 yet, but they get to register. So I don't know, but I would suggest that, you see, we all have birth sets. So if it's possible, then we should use our birth set to guarantee that we are 18 years, because some people will just bring some random person and then claim she's my auntie, she's my this and that, and then the person will just testify that, oh, she just turned 18 or he just turned 18, and then the person will just be registered.
I mean, Esther, is that the same thing for you? Abigail, sorry, is that the same thing for you? Have you been hearing that they said people come there that are not 18 years? Is that the story you've heard? Or there's another story you've also heard?
Yeah, mostly people actually vote because they are convinced to. And they can be convinced through being given money or something else altogether, just to allow a lot of people into the party to vote for them. Because the higher the people vote, the more votes they get.
But before the voting, there comes registration. And I'm asking that, you see, sometimes they say, or when you go to register, you see, like Esther said, there are queues upon queues. You go there in the morning, you come in the evening. What are some of the things you have heard about registration?
Mostly there's misunderstanding over there as compared to what Esther said, which leads to people fighting, which causes damages. Like last 4 years, there was a lot of damages over there.
All right. Is that the same thing for you, Godwin?
Yeah, and what I've also witnessed and heard is you have to go there early. People usually use chairs, stones to queue. Yeah, so like when you go and meet those stones and chairs there, they will be expecting you to stand behind those chairs and stuff. So when they come and they see you have bypassed the stones, they will actually fight you, which I think is no good. They should be there themselves.
There's misunderstanding. I see that. And you, is that the same thing for you?
Okay, also I've also noticed a different thing altogether. One of them being the attitude of the EC officials. Some will come to work late, or some feel because they are those doing the registration, they can show attitude and be doing all sorts of things. Also, the political leaders will be interfering in the work of the EC officials. They think they are brought their people.
Now, Just Turned 18 is brought to you by Youth Break Foundation and Star Ghana Foundation. Our election headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity, Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants and the German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty. Election headquarters for an informed electorate. Now, you have 1 week to conclude negotiations with government. That is the latest call from the Greater Accra regional leadership of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT Ghana, to their national leaders. The three pre-tertiary teacher unions have in the past few weeks been at the negotiation table with government for some new allowances. Despite the ongoing negotiations, the regional executives have organized a press conference this morning to register their dissatisfaction about the slow pace of progress of the negotiation. My colleague James Aveji was at the press conference and filed this report.
Last month, national leadership of the three teacher unions picketed the National Labour Commission over same concerns. They presented 9 demands to the NLC and government. 3 out of these 9 demands, including an immediate release of all accounts frozen by the OSP, was granted. National President of the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, Ken Ali Audu, in his address to the teachers, explained that they were expected to go into negotiations with government over the 6 other demands.
Rent allowance. 2. Transport or commuting allowance. 3. Utility subsidy allowance.
A month on, regional leadership of the teacher union across the country are unhappy with the pace of negotiation. Speaking at a press conference on Monday morning, Greater Accra Regional Secretary of NAT, Peter Boatin, said the rest of the 6 demands have been reduced to 4.
Deprived area allowance, the extra assessment allowance, book data online support allowance, and upward adjustment of the CPD allowance.
He said government has 1 week to take a final decision on the matter.
We wish to state emphatically that should the employer fail to address our grievances on or before May 13, 2024, we shall not hesitate to call on leadership to appeal to heaven with the utmost alacrity.
Regional President of NAGRAT in the Asante region, Francis Yao Owusu, tells Joy News the hardship some teachers had to endure in the line of their work.
We have people in the villages that conditions are so deplorable. But we have some people in these areas that don't have even access to network and roads. Some of them go to work on a motorbike, some with tractors. And we have situations where some teachers and motorbikes have accidents and some are deformed permanently, all because of where they are.
In the Upper West region, regional executives also organized similar press conference to drum home their demand.
Consumables, daily consumables, even bread, the size of bread have reduced. Kenke, the size of kenke has reduced and the price have shot up. We can no longer contain and manage the economic hardship that we are facing as teachers. It is terrible.
But this 13th May ultimatum does not only apply to government. Peter Boatin said their national leadership is also expected to fast-track negotiations within the period.
Let me clarify it. The ultimatum here is being given to our leadership, the national leadership, that anything they come to tell us after 13th of May, this particular month, we are not going to welcome it. And so they will also have to sit up and do what is needed, because the members on the grounds, if I tell you the burning spirit in them, it will not be like the picketings that we have been making. And people think that it's only when we resort to strike. No, we are not going to tell the world what. That is why we summed it up as saying we will appeal to the heavens. And when that appeal comes in, people will get to understand what we are communicating to the world.
It is unclear what strong decision the regional leadership across the country is bound to take should both government and their national executives fail to meet the May 13 deadline.
Now, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority in the northern region has destroyed seized banned cigarettes at the Tamale landfill site. The items, worth a street value of 30 million Ghana cedis, were seized in a joint exercise by the Northern Region Command and the Upper East Command, with the officers drawn from the Customs headquarters, Ho Tema, and Tamale collection points.
The exercise started about 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., lasting close to 9 hours, with the military conveying the cigarette. The 7 military trucks each went 3 times conveying the seized goods. Speaking to the media, the Northern Regional Sector Commander, Assistant Commissioner Georgina Lami Sitibaya, said they had challenges cutting the seized goods from the seized zone. She named security of their men to vehicles as some of the challenges.
So we couldn't get the people per se. The security of our officers could not be guaranteed again. What we had, which were when we came and counted, we had 60.9 million sticks. What we are seeing here is just about a third of it.
She said the implications of illicit trade has an impact on the country's revenue and also legal firms who pay taxes.
The implications of illicit trade, as you all know, one, it denies our government of revenue. You know, revenue from tobacco products. These are high-rated goods. There's a lot in it. So we lose that revenue when they go into this illicit trade. And then the legitimate brand owners who come through the normal sequence and then they pay duty and everything, they also lose a lot.
The Assistant Commissioner reiterated the health impact of illicit cigarettes.
The most important part is the health of our citizenry. You know, tobacco products are injurious to health, but it is not something that is prohibited fully from coming in. But then they are regulated and they have certain requirements.
This is the Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Calone. We'll take a short break. We'll return with more. Please stay with us. Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Let's turn our attention to some other stories where one person is in critical condition after a tree fell on a Toyota Land Cruiser and a motorcycle at a switchback road here in Accra, following a short but heavy and windy rains this morning. At least 5 more vehicles were also destroyed in another incident with many billboards toppled. The sudden downpour, accompanied by strong winds, wreaked havoc in several parts of the capital, leaving residents grappling with the aftermath of flooded homes. Emergency services are responding to the situation, providing assistance to those affected and working to clear debris from the road. Now, Benjamin Akakpo has been monitoring situations at 37 and the airport area, and this is what he found.
Well, it's a wet Monday morning, and with this wetness came a lot of heavy rain in the early hours of the morning. As I am told, well, we're here at the Switchback Road. The Italian embassy is right here, and the Netherlands residents as well close by. Now, you can see from right behind me the debris of this fallen tree. From right there, that's its root. It fell across this street, as I am told, and you can also see the work. The police officers, the police team just left this place in their patrol car. But there's a gentleman here who witnessed everything that happened. In fact, he was called upon urgently to come and see to the cutting of the tree. Good morning.
Good morning, Chief.
Pacho Efrosing.
You're from Christopher Kumi.
Christopher Kumi.
Yeah.
Now we are Jumaway.
We are Department of Parks and Garden.
Okay. Now ebana say na no pay uwaha denti na wabejina.
Denti amuha say anope mi bedu adwuma by 6:30. Nti bedu adwuma mu no within by 10 minutes and I Italian base for mo ha no rush by adwuma mu say edua bi abu ato car so na nipa so. The Ukrainian me in the bus no me ma me team ni nyina asa say me ye chainsaw operator e wo Greater Accra Hantino my teams ni nyina for machines no eni nyina ba yebedu ampa na guy ne hye moto no eduana toro so na soja commander ba ko bi so run car no so eduana toso
into the patch say soldier commander ne car and motorcyclist and so
nti e ba sa no na akware da ho nti wo hye eduana se nti wo se metwitwa ne kakran
he porting no hye
no hye eduana se wo hai asia ha yeyi moto ni sisi moto no me police phone ko ha nti na moto wada form ena moto no dano so ena dua no so sa dano so but lucky ni say edua no etono 9 enani mienu so but anton the body no but the body no edua fire police commander ne car no ena save no because etoso nti na be hangi kakra nti no hyaase nti mitwitwa ne kakran saa kopem say ebetimi ayi nipa na ohye moto na ase no ti yi ma na police for no ma no so a omede call hospital.
Okay, Jinaho Kakra, na me explain you what Potokasem. So basically, this is Christopher Kumi. He works with Parks and Gardens.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was explaining to me that in the wee hours of the morning, shortly after 6:30 when he had arrived at work, he got a call from the Italian embassy, an urgent situation. A tree had fallen, as we can see right behind us. And when he got here together with his team, he realized that it had fallen on an army officer's vehicle, a car, and then a motorcyclist as well was underneath it. What he says saved the motorcyclist was the fact that the car had lifted the tree a bit, but it had still fallen on the motorcyclist. He couldn't extricate himself. And he was taken to the hospital. What hospital am I doing?
Because of that,
It's so far no obetumi aka say there more clear road no na ndema no mo dey ko he
say am say yen clear road nu ye wa wo hwe ha enua ni gu ho nti afa ne yanya access car no besina ko nti afa na yes sasa ne ma na afiri an ya clear road ni nyina sa ne.
Now, Rejoice Semefakpesu was also at the Tesano, Kwame Nkrumah Circle and Awoshi areas.
In Tesano, the aftermath of the downpour saw flood water inundate the area from the police training school to Peace FM, though there's a glimmer of hope as the waters slowly recede. Meanwhile, the towering billboard at the entrance of the police training school has collapsed. In Awoshi, near Victory Bible Church, the scene is no less daunting as high-tension electric cables fall off, causing heavy traffic. Adding to the chaos, the once sturdy banners mounted on buildings at Circle Tiptoe Lane collapsed under the relentless assault of wind and rain.
We were inside the shop. We were in the shop when it was raining because we just finished with our morning devotion. We were having a little meeting. All we could hear, boom, the blood just came down from the top. So after checking, we realized it was a signpost from the building. Yeah, so the whole thing just came down.
I was here, I just parked and it started raining with thunder and then the whirlwind. But just for a second, I heard that something was coming up from the top. So I quickly parked at the side of the entrance. And later on, my son called me on the phone that I should leave there because the building is collapsing. Not knowing this weekend, Techno company, they mounted a signboard at the top of the roof. And you could see the size of the distance. So I think the air could not penetrate. So it forced to fall down. And we're fortunate that, in fact, by morning at this time, there could be a lot of people standing here. But we thank God that we couldn't have any casualty.
Now, businesses continue to suffer the consequences of the intermittent power outages, even as President Akufo-Addo declared that Dumsor was over. In the latest episode of our Dumsor Diaries, we put the spotlight on barbershop operators as the grooming industry faces a grim future as the power outages continue to bite hard. Kenneth Ijesi has more.
Over the period, the issues surrounding maintenance of transformers and gas supply have been successfully resolved, resulting in a sufficient improvement in power supply reliability. Indeed, over the past few days, we have witnessed stable electricity supply across the country, with no load shedding reported anywhere yesterday.
That was President Akufo-Addo during his May Day speech on the 1st of May. A day after the president's speech, the news team visited Achimota Mile 7, a community in the Greater Accra region where, like many parts of the country, doomsday is rampant. When the team got there at 4:10 in the afternoon, their lights were off. We caught up with a baba who hadn't had light since he opened the shop in the morning of that day.
The doomsday is very intense here. I have not been able to work since the week began because of doomsday. The light went off a few minutes after I opened my shop at around 7 a.m. The light usually goes off in the morning and be restored around 6:30 in the evening. 15 minutes later, it will go off again. The other day, the light went off when I was in the middle of trimming a customer's hair. I believe you can bear witness to the fact that there is no light here as we speak.
While filming this story, a customer walked in to shave his beard, but to his disappointment, there was no light. So he, just like the many customers that visited Henry's shop today, either had to look elsewhere or come back later, hoping the lights will be back by then. Aside cutting hairs and shaving beards, the shop also renders manicure and pedicure services for customers. But due to the enormous heat exacerbated by doomsday and the equipment needing power to function, that part of the business has been put on hold for now.
The pedicurist hasn't been to work for the past 3 days because there is nothing to do when she comes.
Henry Jache is a family man. He has a wife and a newborn baby. As the breadwinner of his young family, Henry tells me the financial difficulties he faces back at home due to the erratic power supply.
Now, commercial transport operators and passengers continue to reel under the soaring prices of fuel at the pump stations as they usually caught up in altercations. Fuel prices have seen an upward adjustment at least thrice this year, owing to the depreciating value of the Ghana cedi against foreign denominations. Now, the recent increment in fuel prices at the pumps raised transport fares by 20%, the original cost, but many passengers seem not to have come to terms with the new fares.
They did not inform us of the price increments. It's disturbing because we are not prepared to pay the amount that the conductor requires. Once they increase it, you'd have to find a way to pay.
Some bus conductors charge 6 cedis for Mejiso. They will fight you for the money. Meanwhile, they are supposed to take 5 cedis, 50 pesos. If you don't carry enough money, you'll be found wanting. We are always fighting with the drivers and conductors.
From here to Sofa line was 6 cedis, but now we take 7 cedis. Some of them complain about the difference in fares. So we've given the list to the drivers that do not work with the station.
20% number 2 so no. Even say I didn't know yeah no want to
Some question why the 20% increment results in 1 cedi, and we tell them it's not our fault. The price increases every day, so a directive from authorities came to officially increase the price by 20%. We just increased the price a week ago.
Into the Unibia, a Casade. And Tiasia.
You're still watching the Joint Prime. We'll take a short break. We'll return with Showbiz. Please stay. Well, welcome back. It's time for Showbiz, and guess who's in studio? Becky Bex.
Aww, I'm so glad to see you.
Yeah, glad to see you too.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. What do we have?
Well, we have a lot of things. I was hoping you would say something about my work.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's so beautiful.
Thank you.
And I like the yellow combination in there.
So sweet.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Kim Promise. You know that he's been on his Asian tour. He came back yesterday, and obviously we had an exclusive interview with him at the airport, and he was telling us all about the Asian tour. And there's something actually in there. Kilbit is saying that he has to win the TGMA's Artist of the Year.
I'm feeling great. It's what we've been waiting for. This is what we've been waiting for, to take Ghana music and African music to another level. And I'm so proud of Kim Promise. What should we expect? Nobody there if I win them. If I win them, I don't know what they want to talk. If somebody win, I don't know.
And, just do what I love. It's an amazing feeling.
Kim Promise right there, and that was my colleague. Nicholas Yamwa with an exclusive interview with Kim Promise. And I think that happening at the weekend is the fact that Medical decided to sell Ghana to the rest of the world with his London O2 O2 events. Shatawale was there to perform. We had Sarkodie passing through. Efia, the beautiful Efia gave fans, the best of the night. And here is the Medical on that sold-out event. And let's still stay in London and talk about Afronita and Abigail's beautiful, or say outstanding performance on the Britain's Got Talent. Have you seen the video?
Yeah,
I know you saw it.
Yeah.
For those of you who got emotional like I did.
It was
please. I know a lot of people out there haven't seen the video, so we're bringing it back to you. She actually spoke on Joy Prime for Kids Paradise about how we should watch out for this particular performance before the performance. They're all here. For more of that, please log on to myjoyonline.com for more of our entertainment news. But please remember to brush your teeth before you go to bed this evening. And tomorrow morning when you wake up, use Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, Pepsodent Charcoal, Pepsodent Herbal, or Pepsodent Triple Protection. Because with Pepsodent, every smile matters. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this with you. I'll see you tomorrow, right?
I'll see you tomorrow.
Please join us same time tomorrow.
And thank you so much for watching.
The beautiful Emma Davis is up next with Prime Business.